And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's across the glass.
John, after a month-long recess, the LA City Council is finally back in session, which means public comment is finally back in session, which means our man, 3-inch Shrimp, is back to doing what he does best.
Start with item number 1.
Pardon me, sir. What language are you speaking? Pardon me, what language are you speaking? If you can't tell us what language you're in, I'm going to assume that you're off topic.
Yeah, they let him sing for 3 minutes anyway.
Of course they did.
Now move on to item number 19. 相信你还在这里，从不曾离去，我的爱像天使。
I think Marquise realized that he's better off just ignoring it, let him do his thing. If you agitate him, it's only going to go bad for you.
It's a losing battle.
Now, let's find out what our man 3-inch Shrimp had to say in his general public comment.
Move on to a general public comment. Thank you very much, our council president, the smoking scan, for the warning. Thank you very much for the city attorney Dana for the instruction. Thank you very much, very appreciated. Now I would like to inform our council president smoking scan discrimination issues that my friend Dana said that she only likes our 24-inch city attorney and she does not like 3-inch Shrimp. That really hurts my feeling. And I believe in the city of Los Angeles, and I believe that nobody should be discriminated just because I'm transgender, just because I'm illegal immigrant, just because I am a 3-time transgender recipient.
Wait, how do you do that?
A 3-time transgender recipient. It's not like a organ transplant.
I thought it was.
Just because, I am a 3-time transgender recipient award, whatever, transgender of the year, whatever you call it. So I really make sure that my friend Dana can look at me, not only just look at her favorite 24-inch city attorney. Thank you. Everyone, equality.
Well, it's just a regular Mr. Smith goes to Washington, isn't it?
Now, John, that was today's LA City Council meeting. But they first came back on Wednesday's LA City Council meeting. And let's just say the public, they were very, very, very ready for a lot of public commenting. And they got very, 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 very mad when they were only limited to about a half hour of public commenting. And let's just say things got a little out of control.
All right, and as much as that was our last speaker, that concludes public comment for today's meeting. Mr. Clerk, what items are available?
Mr. President,
please stop disrupting the meeting.
So we need to continue with city business. If you do not stop disrupting this meeting, then all of you will be subject to warning and removal. So please stop disrupting this meeting.
Do you think they stopped?
Of course not.
Let's go into the tape about a minute later.
All right, Mr. Clerk, what items are available for us to vote on?
Mr. President, the council may now vote on items 1, 2, 9, 30, 33, 34, 36 through 53, 55, 57 through 61, 63, 64, 66 through 69.
Okay, so I'm going to start calling individually. Mr. President, I see the woman who's standing up in the white T-shirt. You've already been warned and are eligible for removal.
The woman in the white T-shirt standing up, you've been warned. The woman next to you, this is your last warning. I'm ordering you removed from the meeting subject to Rule 7.
It's amazing that Los Angeles is a city that doesn't have any water in the fire hydrants. You'd think with how they run shop, they really have their ducks in a row.
Let's check into the tape a minute later.
Just,
All right.
just for the
What's
record,
next?
for everyone's here, I can barely hear the city clerk, and he's sitting right next to me. Mr. President, I believe the man in the Luigi hat, the woman in the blue vest, the woman who is standing up in the white shirt, and the woman sitting next to her with the glasses in her hair and the flag T-shirt have all already been warned and are continuing to disrupt this meeting. They are eligible for removal if you would like.
I love that it's like the studio audience of Let's Make a Deal.
They didn't kick anybody out, and that went on until the meeting ended 20 minutes later. Because the public who came to speak their mind was mad that they couldn't go on a microphone and say that they think the LAPD is racist.
Well, these are the people of Los Angeles, and it's part of the reason why all of those people who are out in downtown Los Angeles destroying public property, attacking police officers, bringing material so that people could create a dangerous situation, rioting and everything else, why none of them are being convicted. Because the people that you just heard on that tape are the jury pool for Los Angeles.
If you haven't heard, a lot of charges have been getting dropped when it comes to these federal cases being brought against people that assaulted law enforcement officers, including federal law enforcement officers. And the latest one was a case that got a lot of attention. I think the first person to point this out was Alex Michelson, covering the live riot footage of a guy who pulled up in a car and started passing out face shields. So you would be blocked from the pepper spray and you could continue to throw rocks and rubble and riot.
And that guy, I believe, had an affiliation with some offshoot of a union, a left-wing offshoot of a union, correct?
They all do. Well, that guy's charges just got dropped.
No kidding.
For more, here's Fox 11.
Federal charges have been dropped for a local immigration activist who was handing out bionic face shields during ICE protests. Today, Alejandro Orellana spoke for the first time since charges were dropped.
Fox 11 Christina Gonzalez spoke with him. She's live in Boyle Heights with more. Christina.
Yeah, he was facing some real time, as many as 10 years on these charges, conspiracy, and there was aiding and abetting to commit a civil disobedience. But the DOJ confirming that the judge dismissed the charges, the case. So he's out and he's talking.
Doesn't matter what Bill Essayli does in his new position as U.S. Attorney for the Central District, with the jury pools of Los Angeles and the judges of Los Angeles, there are no consequences for assaulting the feds.
Nope. Zero. And it's the exact opposite for Republicans. You notice that? If they want to get a Trump official and convict them of a crime, they try them in Washington, D.C., where it's 90+% Democrat, and you can get a jury who's out to get you. But in California, the opposite, well, I guess the same thing is true, where you have basically the same political makeup of the jury pool, and these people will not convict anyone for attacking a federal officer or destroying federal property.
Without CSO and the other organizations that mobilized on my behalf, I'd still be in jail with charges still pending, or worse, disappeared without a trace.
They love using the word disappeared.
Oh, yes.
Alejandro Orellana has reason to celebrate. The immigrant rights activist was arrested last month in a pre-dawn raid at his home. His photo posted on X by the acting U.S. Attorney General, accusing him of conspiracy to commit civil disorder for distributing face shields during ICE protests.
Alejandro Orellana did nothing wrong, and, we knew from the beginning, but it's...
No, those were perfectly peaceful face shields.
Sure. Exactly the type of materials you would need for a peaceful protest.
Alejandro Orellana did nothing wrong, and, we knew from the beginning, but it's still scary. It's still scary. These are federal, serious conspiracy charges that were dropped through fighting. It wasn't given to us. We earned everything. We fought every preliminary hearing, every appearance.
U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli dropping the charges. At the same time, his term is extended without Senate confirmation or appointment by a federal panel. The Trump administration maneuver changes his title to acting U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California. By any other name, say L.A. activists celebrating today with Arellano.
Trump's attack dog is Bill Essayli, and he failed.
Essayli?
Never heard it pronounced that way before, but okay.
Trump's attack dog is Bill Essayli, and he failed. He charged people, but most charges are getting quietly dropped. We're seeing it all over. And, like you said, it's a bigger issue. We see Essayli as a problem, and he needs to be removed.
Of course, because if we want a riot in downtown L.A., who's to stand in our way?
You can have the right amount of law enforcement. You can have somebody that's willing to prosecute. But when it comes to judges and juries, that third stool, when it comes to law enforcement, that's where it can all fall apart. You saw what happened in San Francisco, where Brooke Jenkins got appointed as the DA, taking over for the recalled Chesa Boudin. She wanted to go after the Honduran illegal immigrant drug dealers who were selling fentanyl on the streets and killing people. She brought the charges, the police made the arrests, and it was the judges and the juries that say, no, that's a victim of human trafficking. We're letting them off.
All the defense attorney had to do was say, if you convict them, they're going to get deported. So don't convict them. And for the San Francisco jury pool, that was enough. And the judges are even bigger whack jobs than the jurors.
As for Orellana, he's saying he would still hand out shields at protests.
Well, of course, there's no consequences for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, talk to the people who tagged the buildings. Talk to the people who threw bricks at the cops. Are they going to rethink their choices? Of course not.
That's just not right, to gas people that are just trying to peacefully assemble and peacefully...
Yeah, the gas doesn't come out until you start throwing rocks or fireworks or Molotov cocktails at law enforcement.
No, those were peaceful Molotov cocktails.
Exercise their First Amendment. Like, that's real terrorism, is what it is.
This guy's emboldened.
Well, he's a free man.
I'm not sure the Department of Justice would necessarily agree with all that, but when we asked them for a comment, they said no comment. Not on any of this. I'm Christina Gonzalez, live in Boyle Heights. Back to the studio.
Yeah, Essayli made a big deal about this charge when it came out. I remember I pressed him on sort of why is there criminal charges for handing out masks? He was very sort of tough about that. What are we hearing from him today? It's kind of embarrassing to have to do this, huh?
Like I said, they're saying no comment whatsoever, although I will say I was looking at the decision from the judge. It is dismissed without prejudice, which means they could refile if they chose to, although it doesn't seem that they are interested in doing that at this point. But no comment from them whatsoever.
Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, Bill Essayli remains in that job for at least the next 200 days with that acting title. Christina, thank you.
So there's the latest on the guy who passed out face shields. Free to go.
What's interesting to me is when we had the LA riots in the 1990s, there were Democratic politicians who went into the streets to try to calm people down. Gloria Molina, who just died, was one of them. Former member of the LA City Council, former member of the LA County Board of Supervisors. And this time around, what was different was that the Democratic politicians did the opposite. They tried to inflame the crowd. In fact, it all started based on a tweet from a Democratic member of the Assembly saying that there was a raid going on at a Home Depot in Paramount when that wasn't true. The feds had an office that was next door to the Home Depot. They were not raiding the Home Depot. And so the politicians are whipping up the drama. They're whipping up the anger. They're whipping up the crowds. And it looks like the judges and the juries are doing the same thing. And when you do this, and the law basically has nothing to do with anything, you're playing with fire. Because now all of these people know you can get away with anything you want to do. They can arrest you, fine. There's nothing that's going to happen to you because the judges will throw it out and the juries won't convict. And the grand juries won't let them move forward with charges. And word travels fast when that's what happens. And these organizations, because these riots were organized, and the organizations that were behind the riots are going to make sure that everyone out there knows the rules. And the rules are it's anything goes. So what do you think is going to happen the next time? It's going to be bigger. It's going to be worse. And anything that the cops say is going to be ignored. And the one thing that finally put an end to it the last time was the curfew. When they put in a curfew, the mayor of L.A. actually did it, that ended the rioting, that ended all of the freeways being blocked and roads being blocked and everything that we saw. Well, if you violate the curfew, what happens? You get arrested. Well, if you get arrested and nothing happens to you, then why should you even listen to the curfew? So the one bullet that actually worked the last time probably won't work the next time. And we know this going into it. So they're playing with fire in a place that's an extreme fire risk, and they don't seem to care. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've hit the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
Like now that she is declared herself the front runner, you might want to get better acquainted with exactly who Katie Porter is. Especially for our Northern California listeners, as she is was a Southern California Congresswoman. But if you want to update yourself on all of the things that have been said about Katie Porter on this program, you can search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts.
Please.
Whether it's the Apple Podcasts app,
Little D.
iHeart,
No.
Spotify.
Paul.
You can search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could do a Google on the YouTube.
I call it the shift gift.
You can get the KABC app. You can get the KSFO app.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Anywhere that you want to listen to radio or this show, you can find this show, you can find this station, and I'm sure you'll find some Katie Porter sound.
What I haven't heard about is anything about dishwashers.
Now, what was interesting the last time is that Adam Schiff had the Democratic Party behind him and was able to raise a lot of money, but he had a lot of money for normal candidate standards. If she runs against Essayli and she runs against Rick Caruso, they're not going to have a lot of money by normal candidate standards. They're just going to have billions of dollars. And it got nasty at the end between her and Adam Schiff. Mostly between her and Adam Schiff, not Adam Schiff and her. I wonder how nasty it's going to get between Katie Porter and the two billionaires if they go nuclear on her and she doesn't have the firepower to respond.
Oh, it's going to be a beautiful disaster.
Something tells me she won't respond well. And Randy, during the break, I saw a tweet from Rob Pyers about the potential special election that Gavin Newsom is looking for.
The redistricting election, the November 4th ballot measure, if it goes through, that most people who will be voting will have no idea what this is.
Well, as it turns out, that boy may not be as smart as he thinks he is.
Oh, why is that?
Listen to the timeline. He said he wants a November 4th election, special election this year, correct?
That's what he told Ashley Zavala yesterday.
Okay, well, first of all, anyone can sue if they want to, and that can tie things up. But look at the calendar. The legislature is on summer recess right now, and they don't go back until August the 18th.
Boy, that's nice work if you can get it.
That's 3 weeks from now. If the language is introduced immediately upon their return, the earliest, according to the parliamentary rules, it can be voted on is 72 hours later. So that would make it August 21st. Within 30 days, the ballot arguments for the final language need to be solicited and approved. The ballot text needs to be translated into over a dozen languages, and the ballots need to be designed, printed, addressed, and prepared to be sent out before a hard September 20th deadline to mail the ballots to military and overseas voters 45 days before the election.
That's right, because we do the mail-in ballots. They have to have this thing well over a month and ahead of time.
Month and a half. No way this can happen. No way. Unless they bend or break the rules, which they probably will because it's anything goes here.
But are you saying this could be yet another scenario where Gavin Newsom makes a big flashy headline with no follow-through?
Based on my reading of the timeline, it's not possible to do what Gavin Newsom just promised on television. It's just not possible. Now, I guess he could call all of the members of the legislature back, but I would assume that many of them are on some of those Kathy Lee cruises and they're going on junkets all over the globe that lobbyists are paying for. They're not going to want to come back from Hawaii to vote on something for Gavin.
No.
And you would be telling them to come back at the last minute. Usually when you have a special session, you say, okay, oil prices are high. We're going to have a special session to deal with that. You're going to be here in 3 weeks, whatever the case may be. But he just doesn't have any time to play with here. And that's assuming, by the way, that they introduce the bill the moment that the gavel pounds the table. If they don't get to it right away, if there's debate or something that delays it, you're even talking about going beyond August the 21st.
So maybe this thing's not happening in November.
I don't think so. Wouldn't that be hilarious? If Gavin made all of this national news saying that he's going to be the one that stands up to Texas and he's going to gerrymander up all of our districts and you have him to thank for it. And it turns out he just promised Democrats all over the nation something he couldn't come through with.
I'm sick and tired of being screwed.
Oh, that would be rich. All right, Randy, it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And surprise, surprise, the first one involves an ATM.
So this is a story we told you about last week where a ATM got blown up inside a Target in San Ramon. They finally arrested the guy, and what do you know? He's one of the last stragglers of a South American burglary tourism ring.
You don't say.
For more, here is ABC 7 in the Bay Area.
The theft at the Target on Bishop Ranch in San Ramon last week rattled neighbors, obviously, and got the FBI's attention.
It sure did. Investigators arrested a suspect in Orange County, and tonight they say he is the...
Boy, he made it far.
He did.
It sure did. Investigators arrested a suspect in Orange County, and tonight they say he is the last remaining member of a heist crew accused of breaking into banks up and down the West Coast.
ABC 7 News reporter Tara Campbell is on the story.
This San Ramon Target becoming the target itself of a...
You knew they were going to do that.
Because why not?
This San Ramon Target becoming the target itself of a bombing and burglary of an ATM inside.
The bombing of an ATM.
That's a little extreme, don't you think?
This isn't Beirut.
And now the Department of Justice announcing arrest in connection.
It's just scary. Like, I wouldn't want to be here during an event like that.
Well, who would?
Yeah, we're taking Looney Tunes episodes and we're turning them into reality.
Prosecutors say the man detonated an improvised explosive device just before 2:30 in the morning Sunday. The man accused of being a member of a South American ATM theft ring.
That's a thing?
Apparently so.
Targeting dozens of ATMs and banks in California, Oregon, and Washington, and stealing more than $4 million in cash.
You know, some people come to California on holiday and they want to visit the beaches. Maybe they want to visit the wineries. Some South Americans come to California to visit all the ATMs.
And make them go boom.
Something like this, never happened in San Ramon. So I just, it kind of, broke my heart to see, this happen in our community.
Prosecutors say the crew used blowtorches, construction crew disguises, cell phone jam.
What are they, the Village people?
That doesn't look suspicious at all, does it?
Prosecutors say the crew used blowtorches, construction crew disguises, cell phone jammers, and other sophisticated tactics to break into the ATMs.
By the way, most of that is stuff that you can buy on Amazon. Amazon, we facilitate criminal activity.
Hey, someone had to pay for Lauren Sanchez's wedding.
Renting short-term vacation properties nearby and using vehicles from the black market to avoid getting caught.
Oh, that's an interesting one. The staging house where they spy on all the neighbors and figure out who they're going to rob, they're renting Airbnbs.
Boy, Airbnbs are going to get banned all over the place because it seems like every time they make the news, it's for something awful.
Renting short-term vacation properties nearby and using vehicles from the black market to avoid getting caught. Most of the crew was...
And now the new thing is they steal Teslas and they use the Sentry mode on a Tesla, which means you have a car that acts as a surveillance camera to surveil the house that you're trying to watch to figure out when to break into.
You know, if you're capable of doing all this, can't you find a way to make an honest living?
Some of these paydays are pretty big. I mean, the jewelry store guys, they're making millions.
Most of the crew was arrested last year. The San Ramon suspect, the last to be caught. And while the majority of
You figure this guy would lay low. This guy realized the rest of my crew got busted in Orange County. I've got to flee. I've got to keep a low profile. And what does he do? He explodes an ATM in San Ramon.
I guess he knows what he knows.
And while the majority of shoppers we spoke with here knew exactly what was the cause of this damage here behind me, others were shocked to hear that it was an explosive. They blew the ATM up.
Well, that's going to be a drop.
I'm telling you, we are going to get to the point to where there are no more ATMs left, especially because so many places don't even accept cash. They want you to pay with a credit card.
They blew the ATM up.
It is only a liability to have an ATM in your establishment. I understand it if you're a bank, but if you're a bar and you just don't want to pay for credit card fees, so you say cash only, you're going to pay for it in the end.
It's just not worth it at this point.
And let me get my 4X points on my Amex card.
They blew the ATM up.
Wow, that's like Grand Theft Auto. It's pretty scary that people, walking around with explosives. I don't even know how they got access to that. It's crazy.
When we walked in, we saw, and we're like, I guess that's where the ATM was.
Keyword is was.
There's just scorch marks in the outline of a box that used to be an ATM.
And Wile E. Coyote.
The incident catching the attention of shoppers from out of town as well.
We told our friends who were visiting that we were coming to Target, and they were like, oh, yeah, the ATM got blown up there. And we're like...
That's how that Target is known?
I wonder if their friends listen to KSFO.
Probably.
We told our friends who were visiting that we were coming to Target, and they were like, oh, yeah, the ATM got blown up there. And we're like, I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of crazy crimes.
They should listen to this show.
I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of crazy crimes.
The suspect is now facing a maximum of 20 years in prison for bank robbery and 5 years for conspiracy to commit bank robbery. Tara Campbell, ABC 7 News.
So there you go. The arrest was made for the guy that blew up the ATM in San Ramon.
They blew the ATM up.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not an attorney, if they got him on banking charges, that's federal. So that means he's going to be deported at the end of his sentence, and Gavin Newsom can't save him.
Well, not only that, but if it's a federal crime, you have to spend up to 85% of your sentence before you get any kind of parole talk. None of this 50% good credit Prop 57 BS in the state of California.
By the way, speaking of federal prison, did you see that Ghislaine Maxwell was just moved from one facility to another?
I'm so glad you pronounce it that way and not the way that Jillian used to pronounce it. It used to get us yelled at by Drew.
Listen to this one. There's a lot of speculation that they were doing favors for her because she knows where the bodies are buried. But according to the Daily Mail, her transfer from one federal prison to another didn't have anything to do with that. Listen to this. And I'm reading this directly from the London Daily Mail. Convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell was driven mad by transgender prisoners having loud sex in front of her, despite being behind bars for serving up underage girls to Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, that does seem like a fitting punishment.
Maxwell, who's now 63, who was in Tallahassee Federal Prison before being transferred to a low-security prison in Texas on Thursday, was in an open unit where bunk beds were in sections of 4, separated by a small pony wall inside a larger dorm-style room. A source said the trans prisoners would have loud sex out in the open. Quote, it drove Ghislaine mad. The grunting and noises kept her and other prisoners awake at night, but the trans inmates didn't care what time of day it was or who saw them. They would have sex whenever they could, end quote.
So she got a transfer because of that?
She did. Maxwell was moved to Tallahassee in the summer of 2022 after being sentenced to 20 years behind bars on sickening child sex trafficking charges. That's how she ended up there. And then apparently she never had a good night's sleep.
So this wasn't any kind of deal she cut with the feds.
According to the Daily Mail, it's because the woman couldn't rest at night. Could you? Given those circumstances?
I guess they don't give you earbuds in prison.
No. And I don't know if I'd want to yell at them or say, enough.
Well, that's how you get shivved.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the wrong side of them.
You don't want to interrupt that moment of passion.
No, because then they'd find you to be annoying. And if they find you to be annoying, then they might take it out on you. And who needs that? So apparently that's the reason why she's being transferred to a prison in Texas.
Does she know that the prisons in Texas, a lot of them don't have AC?
Well, apparently that's better than what she's dealing with there. I don't know if I like either option, but that's what it's happening there. On federal law enforcement officers is now under fire by Democrats. They do not want him to continue serving as U.S. attorney. We'll find out just exactly how he's staying in that position and what his long-term prognosis is. Also, Gavin Newsom says he wants to redistrict the state's congressional delegation, even though we didn't just have a census. We're not supposed to do it till 2030, but he says since Texas is making noises about doing it, we're going to do it here in California to help out national Democrats. And Heidi Harris stops by, our pal from Sin City. That's what they call it, right, Randy? Sin City in Las Vegas?
I've heard that a time or two.
And then New York is a city that never sleeps, right?
Yes.
Okay, they should rename Las Vegas from Sin City to the land with no working escalators. Have you ever seen a city in your entire life with more broken escalators than Las Vegas?
Even with all the resort fees, it's like every hotel has turned into a rent control landlord.
How can they not fix the escalators? Especially with all the oxygen tanks in that town.
Well, their main objective is to make sure you stay on the ground floor because that's where the casino is.
Okay, but all of them are broken, so you can't get in or out. I don't know how a town like that can't fix the escalators. And the elevators, too. You go to some of those down market properties. You ever been on the inclinator at the Luxor?
I have not.
I think the technology is more modern at the actual pyramids in Egypt. So Heidi Harris will stop by to explain just exactly why tourism has taken a nosedive in Sin City or the land of broken escalators, whatever you want to call it. It's Jimmy Buffett Friday on the John Phillips Show.